Why, hello again, everyone. It's been quite some time since I've made a video. I need to get back on this, creating book reviews, going over different topics. It's really what I like to do. And so I apologize that I haven't been here to talk to you, to speak to everyone about these different topics. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get right to the meat of things, get right into the story. And the story or the book that I have that I'm going to be covering, if not reviewing, is this little guy right here, How to Tell a Story, from the works of Aristotle, Poetics, and translated and written by Philip Freeman, who is a chair of the Humanities or Social Studies at Pepperdine. Now this book right here, How to Tell a Story. Why is this little book right here so important? Well, I'll tell you why. We all tell stories. We've been telling stories. We've been gathering around the campfire since the beginning of time. That's how we passed on knowledge. That's how we discovered things. That's how we translated the experiences that we saw in the world into the minds of others. And so these stories will continue. And I imagine from the deep past to the unforeseeable future, stories are going to be important. And those who don't think, well, I don't tell a story every day, they're not that important, I just live my life day after day after day after day. That's partially true. But guess what this guy right here is? Your cerebrum. Your mind is pitching out stories. Stories about the world. Stories about the people around you. Stories about yourself. And so this book right here is very important. It's a bit of a foundational text, so to speak, when it comes to stories. Now, storytelling has evolved, and you've got movies, film directors, right, like Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Michael Bay, people who've taken that formula from the past and have brought it into the now or the present. Anyway, before I digress with this whole idea, what is this How to Tell a Story book about? Well, as I said earlier, it's from the works of Aristotle. And for those of you who don't know Aristotle, who is that guy? Aristotle is a man who was born in 384 BC. He was a philosopher under the tutelage of Plato, another of the foremost or the great Greek philosophers. And what Aristotle's credited with, he's credited with so much. Pretty much every field that we study, anything that we learn, was touched by Aristotle. Just for example, a few things that he created. Arguably, he created the entire field of logic, right? That formal reasoning to break things down step by step to get from here to here. And also, if you look at like biology or any of that, he had the whole classification system down, right? The genus, the species, that was attributed to him as well. And what he decided to do is he decided to write what made a good story. What were the elements that were needed to take a story and make it so that the person cared about it? Their whole fiber of their being would actually be invested in the story. He starts off and he talks about a couple of elements of what makes a story so awesome, what makes it relevant. And one of those elements was imitation, that we are a creature of imitation. We like to imitate people, objects, animals. We find it fascinating. And when we see someone imitating something really well, we get all excited about it. And the second thing is the rhythm, the movement, the pace, the dance, the music. It's that zest, it's that thing that creates the liveliness in our existence. And so, when you take imitation and you take rhythm and you take those basics and you put them together, those are the things that really make a story grab us. Then what he does in the book is he goes through certain elements of storytelling. For example, he does say that a good story needs well-developed characters, but I found it interesting because not only did he say you need well-developed characters, but you need a great plot. And then what he does is he says this, okay, would you rather have great characters or a great plot? In Aristotle's estimation, the plot was overall more important because you could have the deep characters, but there are no actions written for them. There's nothing binding them to a story. Whereas the plot is a storyline. It sets it up. There are actions throughout, and you can take the characters and you can fill them in. I kind of look at it like life itself, right? Life exists in humans, animals, different creatures. We're all just kind of thrown in there, right? And we fill out the story. We fill out the song of life. But if you did it the other way around and you took all the characters and you took life out of it, well, what's going on? How do we move? Where's the relationship? And so I kind of look at it in the exact same sense. So not only does he talk about plot, he also talks about tragedy needing to elicit fear or pity out of a person. Why it's a very powerful story. We want to see, he at least said that we as people want to see characters who aren't heroically perfect, but not terribly bad either. We want to see someone who's not normal, but a little bit more, like more good than bad, but it's just something tragic that they do on a daily basis that leads to something crazy. For example, maybe in a story, there's a person who's a really good person. They're heroic, they're courageous, they're honorable, but in their daily lives, they don't organize things. They're very bad at organization. And maybe some writer would link that bad habit that he has, this character has, and it causes something tragic to happen because he doesn't organize. So certain little things like that. He goes through, he's about to cover a lot about comedy, but in Poetics itself, which is bigger than this book that I have right here, which kind of distills it, it kind of cuts off. There were elements of Poetics that were lost. Seeing as how it was from the BC era, it's amazing that we even have what we have about telling stories from Aristotle. And when I look at this book, as far as a rating, I think it's a foundational book for storytelling. I give it a 9 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a perfect 10. I can't give anyone a perfect 10 out of 10. But I can give this book a 9 out of 10 because it puts a lot of foundation. He uses a lot of different stories. He describes Homer. He describes Sophocles and the storytelling. So you get a little historical element, but you also get all of these elements, right? For example, another thing I didn't touch on is he discusses how important music is at the right moments, at the right times, to create something that elicits powerful emotions within a person. If I were to say why it's not a 10 out of 10, I would say it's because now we live in the present era, and there are also elements of storytelling that Aristotle did not think about. Now, the basics are all there. He's got all the basics covered, but there are definitely like special effects and different things like that that we have discovered or we have created in this future time that Aristotle could not even imagine. And so it's a kind of a pity to really take it like that, but that's usually how it is with foundational books. They have vast knowledge and they're a great resource, but they don't necessarily apply to the present moment perfectly. So that's my little pity knockoff point from the book. But overall, great read, great book, right? And for some reason, just as a little odd side bit, for some reason I almost wanted to start this video by saying, and you know just what you want. Poetic justice, put it in a song by Kendrick Lamar, the great rapper himself. But I decided to hold off because I didn't know if that was a good thing for the book review. But anyway, that's my little bit of crazy and weirdness. Oh, also he said, as a little tidbit before I end this video, he said that those who are the greatest writers are either highly gifted or insane. Those who are highly gifted have vast imagination, and those who are insane, well, they've lost their noggin. And I felt that to be an interesting point, because I know there are a lot of people, maybe yourself, who would like to write, and I think everyone should write. But I think in the creative process, you definitely risk losing yourself with this wide imagination. And I guess that's why you can learn to hone this in telling a story. Thank you all for watching this. I hope to get another video out within this week. Please subscribe, add comments, provide feedback. I'm willing to listen to all of you, because I'm just trying to make my videos better and better. Perhaps I get more camera work. Perhaps I'm able to edit the videos more. It will come as time progresses. Thank you very much, and you have a good day.